Hello, everyone from Chelsea Fan TV. I hope you're all doing very, very well and enjoying your Friday afternoon. Welcome back to another live stream about all of the latest Chelsea news going on at the club right now. There is a debate that's going on. There is a debate. And I feel like, to be honest with you, I almost feel a bit controversial when I speak about this Garnacho debate. Because I know that the majority of people don't want Garnacho. But anyway, it looks like Chelsea are moving in that direction, or at least interested in going in that direction. And my honest opinion on it is fair enough if you can get it done at the right price. Okay? I'm not here for going out of our way to try and bring Garnacho to Chelsea. I'm not here to encourage Garnacho to sign for a hefty fee and be on a decent wage. That's not what I'm talking about. But I have to be honest with you. I'm open to this whole Garnacho thing. I'm an open book, and I do believe that this is a deal that could happen, and I believe it's a deal that could actually be beneficial to Chelsea. I do believe that. And the more I've thought about it, the more open-minded I've become, especially when you look at where we are at the moment. People always say, you shouldn't have blind trust, but I think we can all agree that our lack of trust, well, not everyone, but people like myself who didn't trust what they were seeing. I mean, we've basically been shut up, haven't we? And fair play. And the recruitment deserve credit for that, because they recruited players that have ended up performing, and they are continuing to recruit good players. So when we say Garnacho is crap, he's not good enough, fine, this season, absolutely. But I have to say, I'm open to it. I'm open to it, but only at the right price. Only at the right price. The key word there, or key phrase. So if we're talking about 60, 55, 50, 45, 40, 35, I'm not interested. But when you start bringing up the numbers, 30 million, 25 million, that is a genuine proposition. That's a deal that I can think about. And Man United don't want to sell for that, but they're desperate to sell, and he's not going to be a part of their plans, is he? So, I think that as Chelsea fans, there has to be a conversation now about Garnacho. I think that we can definitely have that conversation in a serious manner. Whereas if we would have spoken about this in January, where I think it was a £45 million bid that was rejected for Garnacho from Napoli, that's totally different. And I'm glad that we didn't go in for Garnacho at that time. Absolutely glad. My stance has always been the same. If you can get him for a cutthroat price, it's something that we can think about. It is. And I do think it was poor business from United not accepting the Napoli bid in the first place, because I actually think that that would have been great for both sides. And United just got greedy. And now they're suffering the consequences of their greed, because they're not going to be able to shift him for a good price. Napoli aren't going to pay the money now that they were willing to pay in January. And I don't hear anyone else's name in terms of interest from for Garnacho. Don't hear anyone else's name coming up. Also, we're going to talk about Xavi Simons as well, guys. We're going to be talking about why that deal is being slightly delayed. It looks like Chelsea are going to need to sell and offload some players. And then we will be in a position where we can get that deal done. Although nothing's in danger at this moment in time, we want to get some outgoings completed. But in the meantime, we'll just sit there and hopefully wait for this Xavi Simons deal. I know that there was a lot of talk about Xavi Simons potentially walking around Stamford Bridge the other day. I don't know about any of that. I saw a picture. Does the picture really prove anything? I saw the back of his head. I don't think that we can really come to conclusions off of that. But I think Lee Gunner, he reported it. He said something about it, that he was sent a picture and he's not going to give away the source and all the rest of it. Who knows? It's done when it's done. We're either going to get the player or we're not. Good to see you, Gemma. Not a fan of Garnacho. Fair enough. Good to see Brian in the building. Good to see you, mate. Alex, how is Westview for Crystal Palace game now priced at 395? It's the first game of the season, man. That's the truth. It's the first game. Good to see you. I'm doing very well, thank you. We are going to win the Premier League. Oh, don't know about that. Don't know about that. Hey, listen, I've got to be careful now. I've got to be careful. So I'm going to try and keep my feet on the ground, and we'll see. We'll see where this goes. Sonny's not a fan of Garnacho. Kogo says only a loan option to buy if he fits the system. That's fair enough. Enough negativity on Alejandro Garnacho. We Chelsea supporters didn't want Palmer initially. Now we love him. Give Garnacho a chance. Very well said, mate. Very well said. To be honest, I think the Palmer one was more of a nobody was talking about it. It just happened. As opposed to Chelsea were actively sort of protesting online about getting this player. Whereas, you know, with Garnacho, you're seeing hashtag no to Garnacho. So I think it's slightly different. I think that we are actually seeing a genuine, yeah, I mean, it's an online protest, isn't it? Really, that's the best way I can describe it with Garnacho. And I am going to be on the side of every player at the right price can be a good player. Not every player, but Garnacho in this case, I would say, is a player that I would bring in for the right price. And if you're looking at less than 30 million, that is the right price. And if you're looking at 30 million, it's still a good price. But that's as high as I go. I don't go any higher than that. And people laughed and they said they'll never sell for less than 30 million. But we're clearly having a conversation. So not to say that anything's going to happen or not going to happen, but there's talks going on. And there is interest from all parties to try and find a solution. United don't want him. He doesn't want to be there. Chelsea want him, but only at the right price. Keyword, key phrase, the right price. And we have shown ourselves to be pretty, mixed negotiators in this window. We've had some very, very good deals, and we've had some deals where, I'll be honest with you, I think we could have, negotiated a better price, or we overpaid. Delat was a great deal. Esteval was a great deal, although at the time, nobody else was willing to pay the money that Chelsea were. Santos was a great deal. Hato is a great deal, taking advantage of Ajax's financial situation and their desperation in the need to raise funds. Gittins, not a great deal. Too expensive. Okay, we overpaid for Gittins. We overpaid for João Pedro. We could have got him for less, in my opinion. Or regardless of the amount of whether he performs or not, I do think we've overpaid for a player who got 10 goals last season. 5 of them were penalties. I do think that 60 million is a lot. Okay, that's not to say he's going to perform badly, he's going to perform well. I'm just talking about the finances here. So again, like, some of the deals have been great, some of them not so great. And then you look at the sales as well, and you can obviously have your opinion on that. Great sale of Madueke. You made profit on Petrovic, but it wasn't really good business, if we're being honest, on either side, of footballing or a financial side. You probably could have still got more for him. There's a lot of good, and there's some things that we could have done better. Garnacho is a deal that will upset a lot of people if it happens. But at the same time, what do we know? And, I don't know what everyone else thinks. I don't know. I only know what I think. But what I do know is that I thought a lot of negatives a number of months ago that I don't feel now. Okay. And I still have my reservations about certain things. I don't know if we're going to win the league. I think that's a bit of a stretch. But I'm not saying we can't do it. And just don't know. I just don't know. This is one of those windows that you have to look at and see what happens. See where the wind takes you. It's like that guy in your class or in your office if you're working, and he's just joined the company or the school or whatever it is. You look at him, you think, not really sure what I think about this guy. Then you have a conversation with him. You go, actually, he's all right. Then you have a night out with him and you love him. You think, wow, this guy's great. That's what Garnacho could be. He could be that guy that everyone's looking at and they think, this guy's not really great, is he? But you find out you were wrong. And I hope that's the case if we do sign Garnacho. I don't think I'm in the camp of heavy Garnacho in. I'm certainly not Garnacho out or no to Garnacho. I am yes to Garnacho at the right price. That's what I am. Okay. And I feel like that's a pretty simple comment to make. But when people go, I don't want Garnacho no matter what. I mean, Lewis, God, some of the stuff that guy said about Garnacho, he hates him with a passion. And like, fair enough. You know, if you don't want a player in your squad, that is totally up to you. You know, that's up to you if you want a player or if you don't want a player in your squad. But for me, I do believe there is a form of potential in that deal. I do believe there is potential. So whether that potential comes to fruition or not, whether we actually get this deal done, you know, we'll find out. But you know, we'll have to wait and see what happens. But I've had conversations with Lewis about this, and I know he's not keen. Although I haven't spoken to him in the past sort of week or so about Garnacho, so maybe his opinion's changed. I don't know because the price tag has come out now. Let's have a look. Garnacho won't get played again. We just don't know. I'm very well, JC. Good to see you, mate. Byron said I'd rather have Dwight McNeil over Garnacho. Fair enough. I'm not sure I agree with that one, mate, but that's fair. Why aren't we going for Rodrigo? He's a perfect fit for us on the left side. I know the wages, but he's a big player. I'm not sure of Garnacho. Well, it is the wages. I mean, that's the reason we're not doing it. That is the reason. Garnacho has better stats than Neto. Not saying he's a better player than Neto, but he is not crap. So he's a good squad player, in my opinion. Again, I agree. I do want to know what his stance would be, Garnacho's stance, if he does sign for Chelsea and he signs on the basis that he's going to be given regular game time, or if he's going to be a squad player. I would love to know what his opinion is. Not his opinion, his attitude when he's at the club. Because if he does get dropped, which is very likely, and he plays a number or doesn't play a number of games, how does he react to that? So I'm intrigued to see how that goes. It'll be a backup, not a starter, 25 million max. I mean, that's like my price range, but 30 million I could accept. 25 is a good deal, in all honesty, but not for United. I don't think United accept 25. I think they consider 30 plus add-ons if he performs. Yeah, I wouldn't have a problem paying add-ons, performance-based add-ons. Like, I don't know, 30 million plus 10 million if he scores 50 goals for Chelsea. I don't know, something like that. Just a little something. Willing to give him a chance, providing his off-field antics don't continue, which may happen. I recall United fans saying Sanchez was a menace too, and he was fine when he was here. It's true. I mean, I don't know how people felt about Jadon Sancho. I think it was the right decision not to sign him. I think that, you know, his greed in terms of what he was looking for financially is sort of, I mean, he was wrong, wasn't he? He was wrong to demand as much money as he did. He was wrong. But that's the way it goes, isn't it? That's the way it goes. I think Sancho, that was the best season he's ever had in English football. Let's just remember that. And if that was his best, what happens if he didn't improve the next season? I think that could have been a flop, to be honest with you. But I think he would have been a stable squad player. But I was glad we didn't sign Sancho. I think that was the right decision. The moment we signed Hato to back up Cucurella, personally, my transfer season was done. Any other buy for me is extra cool, and any sales we don't need will be extra cool. Fair enough. Jackson not leaving unless you are guaranteed an upgrade in that position. I don't think you are guaranteed an upgrade. I think Jackson is the best third choice striker that we could have. You will not get a better striker as a third choice. You will not. It just won't happen. Nicholas Jackson has had a season where he scored 15 goals for Chelsea in the Premier League, scored about 10 or 11 this campaign. Can easily get you 20 GA. So I don't see where you get better than that anywhere. So yeah, I'm not getting rid of Jackson unless it's for more than we sold Madueke for, which was 52 million. So 55 is my bare minimum. 60 is a preference. 65, great deal. That's the way I feel about that. It wasn't Javi Simmons, the picture. That was just someone buying a shirt. Fair enough. So a random guy just had paparazzi on him, or some random guy taking pictures. Nina, Matty Dav, and Lewis, in my opinion, I don't think like Garnacho. I haven't spoken to, I can't remember what Matt said. I haven't spoken to Nina about it. I know Lewis doesn't. So I'll have to do some shows with them, definitely. It's starting to change on Jackson now. I think he goes. Fair. 30 to 35 million would be max for me if he succeeds. All would be happy if he doesn't live up. We can always sell him to Arsenal for 50 or 60 million. Well said, JC. Well said. I only accept if he's back up for Gittins. Otherwise, Javi Simmons can play there. Do you know what are future trading contracts? I can assure you there is a draft copy of such a contract with Arsenal ready to be printed in case Garnacho fails. Hey, we'll see what happens, man. Couple more guys and then I'll get cracking, okay? We have over 130 of you on YouTube and almost 300 on X. Let's get straight up to 75 likes on YouTube. If you haven't smashed that like button, please do. All right. Once we get up to a target, all right, of 75, I will get cracking. Okay. We are on 40 as it stands. Okay. 40 as it strikes. So get up to 75 and then I will get cracking. Big up to Stephen as well. Does buying Garnacho ruin the transfer window? No. I didn't. I don't think it ruins it. Casuals have this obsession. Nico is crap, which he kind of is. But as a third choice, he's decent. People need to stop being ignorant casuals. Simple as, oh man, you skipped my comments because I'm black. No, I didn't skip your comment. Well, I don't think I did. But again, guys, if we got it, you know, on every single stream we got someone. Honestly, it's unbelievable. Who do you want away from home in the Champions League? I'd take a trip to Italy. I'd love a trip to Turkey. I would love to go to, I don't really, you know, I love France, but I don't really want to go to Paris. I don't even think it's that nice. I think Paris is just, it's a bit like London now, isn't it? From what I see online. So don't want to go there. Don't want to go to Germany. Although they treat you well in Germany, I'll give them that. In Spain and Italy, they treat you like you're caged animals. So maybe Germany, actually, I'll give Germany that one. But not as a tourist, more from the footballing side. But as a tourist, I'd love to go to Italy. From a footballing side, I'd love to go to Turkey. So that's what. And yes, Netherlands. Netherlands is another good one. I'm with you on that one. Chelsea Barca semi-finals. Let's make it happen. What an atmosphere at the bridge. Can you imagine it? Oh my God. That'd be incredible. I would love nothing more than to see that game. I think that would be absolutely incredible. Right, how many likes are we on as it stands? 47 as it stands, guys. Come on, people. What's going on here? I'll do a couple more and then I'll get cracking. The bridge will be incredible. Kukurea versus Yamal. I'm with you on that. That'd be brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. Okay. Matt Law. What has Matt Law had to say about this Garnacho deal? Let's have a look. I'm told Chelsea wants Garnacho and he wants to stay in the Premier League and ideally play in the Champions League like most players do. He has set his heart on Chelsea if possible. In fairness, who else does he have to set his heart on? Because I'm not hearing any other names that are being linked with this guy. So, yeah. I mean, that's... I don't think he's got anyone else to actually look at. Let me know if I'm wrong. Has there been any other interest from any other clubs for Garnacho? Maybe, I think Villa? Did they have some sort of interest? Or is that me talking rubbish? Fabrizio come out and said Garnacho's keen on joining Chelsea. It was his priority in January, and he's still keen on the move this summer. Chelsea is considering bidding later this month. And that's according to Fabrizio Romano. Now, again, let me just give my opinion on this, okay? I've talked briefly about Garnacho, but I do feel like there's some people who still don't understand my thought process when I'm saying 25, 30 million, that those are deals that I would accept as a Chelsea fan. Maybe even 30 million with some form of incentivized add-on if the player does really well. This is a player that is in a toxic environment. Make no two ways about it. He is in a toxic environment. Okay. Luke Shaw did an interview the other day with United Stand and all of these United platforms and journalists. And he said himself, it's been very toxic at Manchester United. He said that. That's no news to anyone. We already knew that. But if I was to ask you a serious question, which club is the most toxic club in world football at the moment? And we're going off of the past season we've had. Okay. I don't think you can find a more toxic club than Man United. And obviously there's clubs in worse positions. Reading had a big problem. That's my local team. Reading, they had a problem with their ownership. I know Sheffield Wednesday are going through issues. There's obviously toxic clubs out there. But just think of it from the side of the size of the club, the conditions that they're training in. They don't even buy new equipment. The training ground is old. The stadium's falling apart. They care more about the commercial side than the football side, the majority shareholders at Man United and the Glazers. That's what they care about. And you actively have fan protests outside the club shop. Not to mention the amount of online scrutiny that you get for being a part of Manchester United and elevated fame that players obviously, I'm sure, appreciate from a branding perspective, but they don't appreciate, I'm sure, going out on the streets and being hounded everywhere. And when you're being hounded because you're rubbish, it's very different to a player like Cole Palmer, who's constantly been given credit for how good he is, and basically people get on their knees for him, which fair enough. I mean, the guy is very, very good. But I don't think Garnacho has that. So from a player, the perspective of a young player who is, still trying to make his way in the professional game. He's not been a player for that many years. Okay. He's been around for a bit. Garnacho has shown that he's able to break into United's first team and perform to a decent level. And he's 21. He's only 21 years old. All right. Under Eric Ten Hag, I actually do think that Garnacho was looking like a half decent player under Ten Hag. And I'd even say that in a lot of ways, when I watched Garnacho this season when Ten Hag was, or last season when Ten Hag was still the manager, I remember watching the Crystal Palace game, and I think United lost that one. I think it was, or was it a draw at Selhurst Park? It was like a 1-1 draw or something like that. And Garnacho hit the post. And I've seen countless games where he's almost scored, or he's gone very close. But when I say he's almost scored, I'm not talking about a Raheem Sterling free kick. I am talking about a genuine opportunity, which I actually felt like, fuck, he probably deserved to score that. So, again, you look at the environment, you look at the situation, the change of management, everything about where Garnacho is operating right now, and just put yourself in his shoes, okay? We're talking on more of a human perspective here. I don't think that it's unfair to say that a young player who's given a good environment is going to perform better than a player that has a bad environment, a poor environment, which is what Manchester United is right now. I just don't see how it gets worse. It does not get worse. You're trying to compare a player, right, who finished, where did United finish? Oh my God. I mean, they finished pretty low, right by the relegation zone. United finished, fuck's sake. United finished 15th, okay, just above Wolves, Tottenham, okay, apart from the relegation zone. That's where United finished. They finished on 42 points. 42. Now, in my opinion, if you put Garnacho in a side that finished with 69 points as opposed to 42 points, and a side that won the Conference League as opposed to a side that lost in the final against Spurs, who hadn't won a trophy since 2008, and a side that won the Club World Cup, do you not agree with me that this is a signing that can work? Again, I just want to reiterate, at the right price. Do not spend stupid money on this guy. But if it's 30 million, I'd push to 35 if I had to. I wouldn't be keen on the deal, but if Chelsea did it, I wouldn't be happy, but I wouldn't be unhappy. I'd be like, okay. Then I think this is a deal that could work. I don't see this as a net negative for Chelsea. I don't. And again, when we look at the player, and we talk about, again, people are asking about his attitude. So what kind of attitude does Garnacho bring to the table? If Garnacho has any problems, he will be replaced and it won't be a problem. And this is the beauty of having supreme depth, but not just depth in numbers, depth with quality. You have to remember that if this guy is a bum, if he is an idiot, if he's disloyal to us, probably might be later down the line. Who knows? I don't know if Real Madrid came calling. Nah, not Real Madrid, but I don't know. Ignore that last bit. Chelsea could just play Gittins. We could play Esteval. We could play Neto. We could play Palmer out wide. We could play so many other players. We could play João Pedro. We could play Tyreek George. And then we'd still get results without this guy in the dressing room. You just bin him off. You're clutching at straws. Get it together. No, I'll be honest with you. It's not a deal that's 60 million. It's not a João Pedro deal. It's not a Gittins deal. Although I was against the signing of Gittins for that money. I thought that was fucking criminal. That we spent that much on a guy who's unproven. But listen, that's the risk we wanted to take. And Gittins doesn't have a bad attitude, so nobody's making that comparison. That's the main difference between Garnacho and Gittins, isn't it? Is that Garnacho has obviously been heavy in terms of the amount of press that's been given to him, and a lot of bad press as well. But I don't think this is a player that flops at Chelsea. I don't think this is a player who does worse at Chelsea than he's done at Man United. I think that if he comes to Chelsea, he does better than he's been at Man United. And this is a great question. How many Chelsea wingers outscored Garnacho? I don't know the answer. I don't know it. I presume you do. I mean, you look at what Garnacho was able to achieve in the Premier League in the most recent season. He got 8 GA, which I have to admit I think is poor. And I'm not just talking about those numbers. It's who you see the goals are against. I mean, the guy doesn't score against enough top quality opposition. His goals came against Leicester, Brentford. I think he had one against Newcastle, and Fulham. Okay, those are the teams he scored against or got an assist against. It's not. It doesn't set the world on fire, does it? But again, if you want rotation, then you know that he can contribute against that level of opposition. You know that he's capable of scoring in the Europa League and against lower level European teams. There are still teams in the Champions League, by the way, who are nowhere near as good as us. And you will need to rotate at times. So there's different opportunities to go out and do that. But I do think he got worse. Well, I mean, the numbers say everything. He did get worse this season compared to last season. He did get worse. He went from 13 GA to 8, playing the same amount of games, slightly less minutes. I'll give him that. Slightly less minutes in the Premier League. But I just don't see this as a poor investment. I don't see it, because even if it doesn't work, again, we can flip him for a profit. But this is why we have to buy him at a cheap price. And it's a crazy price, isn't it? 50 mil for Torres. Although Torres was probably one of the best strikers at the time. So I'm not sure we can make the comparison in terms of quality, but I understand your point. Maybe Maresca only saw his goal against Everton and said, bring him immediately. I remember that goal because we had just been in Newcastle. We'd played Newcastle the day before. And we decided, because we wanted to get very, very cheap trains, we got the train at like 6:30 the next day. So we sat in a bar, in a pub for like 10 hours. And we watched the Newcastle game. We saw that overhead kick. It was unreal. Unreal. But I appreciate that not everybody wants to accept this signing, because this isn't the standard at Chelsea. That's what people say. This isn't the standard. But if people knew that this is where we would have been today, would you have been complaining as much as you were when we played Warsaw and lost at home, when we drew against Brentford, when we lost against Brighton in all these other games, when we lost against Newcastle in the Carabao? If you would have known that Chelsea were going to get to this stage now, would you have complained as much as you did at that time? Would you have felt as bad as you did at that time? I mean, I felt pretty bad. And the truth is, I wouldn't have complained as much if I'd have known that we would have got to this point. So now we're at this point, but people still want to complain, even though all of the other good business that we did, or that we needed to do, we've done, right? Bar the goalkeeper. Okay, the goalkeeper is certainly a position we can strengthen. Everyone knows that. But my thing with Robert Sanchez was always, if you are able to compensate for his mistakes with that much quality around him, it's going to help, right? Because if a defender if you have a better defense in front of you, they'll block shots that Sanchez might not save. They'll be able to pass forward in other moments where players like Disasi or Badiashile or, basically defenders who aren't good enough to start for us would pass backwards. And then maybe you'd see Sanchez make a mistake. So there's definitely, an argument that Chelsea can sign a goalkeeper, but I don't think that Chelsea honestly are looking to win the Premier League this season. I really don't. Although people are talking about it, I believe that Chelsea just want to retain Champions League and grow in the season, have that consistency. Todd Boehly said the goal was 70 points. That was the goal. And how many points did we get, guys? We got 69 points. So very close to that mark, and we managed to scrape Champions League through that points tally. So how do you progress from 69 points finishing fourth? Okay, how do you progress? Well, you can obviously look at, so you finish second, third, second, or first, or you look at the points tally and you just want to grow from there. Now, if that's the logic that Chelsea want to use, then fine. I honestly don't have an issue with it. I'm not one of these guys who's saying we have to win the league next season. Obviously, I want to. But, we've got to show some sort of considerable improvement, because we have considerably improved in terms of the players that we've brought in. I think that pound for pound, we're just a much better team. And even if you look at some of the guys that we signed last summer, João Felix is an example. Okay, where's the upgrade on him? Xavi Simons pending. And if that deal gets done, are you telling me that that's not a huge upgrade? I think it is. But yeah, the defense is better. We now have exceptional cover for Cucurella. We have cover for Colwell as well with Hato. Defensively, we have Tosin, who's now settled in. I think he is a fucking great signing. I've always campaigned for Tosin. I said he's a better player than Fofana for Chelsea. I stand by that. I prefer Tosin to Fofana because he is available. Availability is the best ability. I love Gusto. I'm a huge fan of Gusto. If you allow Gusto to overlap, you will have arguably one of the best sort of wing backs, whatever you want to call him, in the Prem. 100%. We've seen that guy's quality. He was probably our third best player under Poch, in my opinion, alongside Caicedo and Palmer. Those three were incredible. And I would put Cucurella in that bracket. I think Cucurella improved as the season went on, but I think Gusto was solid from the get-go. Our midfield is one of the best midfields in the Premier League in terms of on paper. We brought in Santos. We have depth with Dewsbury Hall, who remains professional. Don't think you can ever ask for more than that from anyone who doesn't get regular game time. But still good enough to fill in certain games. We've brought in Esteval, one of the best young talents. We've got Asugo to cover for Caicedo. We've got Reece James, who can invert. We've actually seen when you let Gusto overlap and you've got Reece James in the midfield, it is better. And then Palmer comes a little bit more central. That's a nice system. I hope to see that much more. Our wingers, we now have Jamie Gittins. Again, Esteval can play in those positions. João Pedro can play there. And we've got João Pedro as a striker, Delap as a striker, and Jackson as a third choice. So then, again, when you look at all those things and you compare it to other teams, how many other teams actually compare to Chelsea? I think Liverpool are in the conversation. Arsenal are in the conversation. Man City are in the conversation. I don't think anyone else is. So really, the people who finished top four this season are the ones who are going to be fighting it out. But I do think if Isak joins Liverpool, they'll probably win the league again. I do think if he joins them, that's the league wrapped up, to be honest, unless maybe he has a really bad injury. So there's always that factor as well. I don't think Arsenal win it. City, not really sure what to think. And then Chelsea again. I think we'll finish top 4, but I don't know where in the top 4. I don't know where. So, again, just fanning back to Garnacho, it's not a deal that I have a massive problem with. And, you know, they're separate deals, according to Fabrizio Romano. Obviously, I think we would all prefer Xavi Simons as opposed to Garnacho. I mean, if we sign Xavi Simons and then Garnacho after, it does make you question where Garnacho fits into the team. And then he's clearly in a position where, I mean, if the guy has any intelligence whatsoever, he obviously knows he's not going to start for us every week. Like, he's aware of that. But then how much time are you willing to endure not being a starter before it becomes a problem? Because we saw with João Felix and Renato Vega, that became a problem in January. They were 6 months and they're out. Halfway through the season, they're done. That is not a mentality I want at this club. I'm sorry, it's not the mentality I want at this club. And then you've got players like KDB who obviously leave, and you get great players who leave because they want game time. That's fine. Also, though, as a club, if a player is that good and wants to leave, have some balls and say you're not leaving, you're staying at this club regardless, and see if you can actually. The guy could break through into the first team and then prove everyone wrong. And maybe that's what happens. Maybe that's what happens. But I mean, as I'm looking at it right now, I mean, do I have my lineup builder? Yes, I do. I have my lineup builder. Okay, so why not? This is what we're working with, guys. At the moment, we got our lineup builder here. What are we saying for the formation? 4-3-3 would be nice. But usually it's a 4-2-3-1, isn't it? So we'll just go with that, and then maybe something will change. We'll see what happens. So we got Sanchez in goal. No disputes about that. I think that's everyone's pretty clear on that. And then again, this is our best lineup, right? Our number 1 lineup. So I know some people will go, "Oh, I want this player in, or I want that player in." Honestly, I believe I'm just putting Tosin in there because Fofana's never fit. So I'm putting Tosin in there. But if it's not Tosin, it would be Fofana if he's fit. I'll give him that. Okay. And then I honestly think that Gusto, if you're going to play James in the midfield and he can do what he did against PSG, I think that's a good excuse to have him in there. But then you've got this problem of Caicedo and Enzo, where do they fit? So then you come back to this where you want to invert James into the midfield, and then Gusto gets dropped, which I don't think anyone can complain about when you look at Enzo and Caicedo in the midfield. So maybe a few question marks on that right back position, how we approach that. I'm open to that conversation. Palmer in there. João Pedro up top. And then I'm going to put Neto here. And who goes on that left-hand side? Are we got? I mean, Esteval, Gittins. Don't forget Garnacho. Oh, fuck. Sorry about that. Oh, my God. That is disrespectful. Sorry, guys. I had a bit of a brain fart there. Yeah, I'll put Chalobah in there. I love Chalobah. Jesus. I made the Chalobah chant, for crying out loud. Should we get it up? Yeah, why not? Why not? Come on, lads. One time.
I'm just standing at the bar. I'm just standing at the bar. With Trevor Chalobah. I'm just saying.
There you go. You've got to have at least one, haven't you? Every time I mention Chalobah. There you go. Love to Chalobah. I'm a huge Chalobah fan. So, yeah, I do stick Chalobah in there. Ahead of... I stick Chalobah in there ahead of Fofana and Tosin. Both. Easily. And then, yeah, who we play on the left? That's the only one I'm like, Esteval, Cam, right. Okay, so we play Esteval. But is Esteval going to play every week? I don't know if that's going to happen. Well, if that is the case, then maybe we put Esteval there. There you go, guys. So that, in my opinion, is probably Chelsea's strongest 11. Obviously, you can make tweaks in terms of the formation to try and fit in and around other players, but I just think pound for pound, that is probably the best that we have to offer. So, again, you put Garnacho in the fold, he doesn't start. You put Xavi Simons in the fold, probably a good chance that he doesn't start every game. So maybe there can be... I mean, but to be fair, it's not a bad thing for Palmer to have rotation as well. We love Palmer. I'm a big fan of Palmer, but he needs to have rest as well. So Xavi Simons can obviously operate in that role. And then you can literally have a second lineup if you want to. You can have another one with a totally different team, which still offers you, an awful lot of quality. So again, this is what we could have if none of those players played. So toss in. I'm not putting Fofana in there because he's going to be injured. Santos. Oh, fuck. I forgot about Lavia as well. Damn. Look at this. This is incredible. Who have I missed? Gittins. The lap. On the wing. And in the 10, who have we got? Who am I forgetting, guys? We've got Jackson, but he's not playing ahead of Delap, let's be honest. Asuga, I wouldn't play Asuga in the 10. What, can I play Delap further up? Yeah, but Simmons hasn't signed for us yet. All right, we can presume that he's signed. All right. Well, to be fair, if he hasn't signed, then I'm just gonna... I'll play around with it. This isn't a tactical masterclass. It's just players I'm fitting in. And who else have we got who could play the right winger that I haven't thought of? Oh, yeah, and then Kunku. Easy. Easy peasy. So I know Nkunku's not a right winger, but the point is we're just showing off our depth here. Yeah. Lineup number 1. It's looking pretty good all round. Okay. Lineup number 1. Sanchez, Cucurella, Colwell, Chalobah, James, Fernandez, Caicedo in midfield, Neto, Palmer, Esteval, João Pedro. And then you want to rotate? Fine. Jorgensen, Hato, Badiashile, Tosin, Gusto, Lavia, Asugu, Gittins, Santos, and Kunku and Delap. You cannot complain about that on paper. You cannot. You can't. So I do think we're in a very, very privileged position in that sense. So as a Chelsea fan, I mean, I'd be lying to you if I said I wasn't enjoying what I'm seeing. I'm enjoying the business we're doing. and I'm struggling to think of a better window. I said to Kev on the stream the other day, I said, what window have we had that's better than the one we've got right now? Which window has been better? And he said to me, probably the one Claudio Ranieri had in 2004, I think it was. And I thought, okay, that's a long time ago, over 20 years. So if that is the case, and this is the best window we've had, and you let me know what you think in the chat, guys, then that would put us in a conversation just by that logic alone to be in the title race, if not win a Premier League. So, I mean, you have to win some trophies for it to mean anything. Yes, an update on Mark Guiu as well, a player that I am a big fan of, but never really going to have a place at Chelsea as it stands, if we're being totally honest. This is a player who will be flipped, in my opinion, potentially coming in to replace Jackson if he is sold. He has gone to Sunderland. That is a here we go. And I'm looking forward to seeing what Sunderland can do, guys. I'm looking forward to it. For those of you who don't know, Sunderland's basically my second team by blood. All right, so it is a family thing. It's not just because I picked them because they got promoted. Funny story, I basically grew up thinking my mum's side of the family were all Newcastle fans because that's what my mum told me. That shows you how much my mum cares about football. Turns out I found out about 6-7 years ago because I spoke to my grandma. It's not Newcastle, it's Sunderland. So I've got all these Newcastle shirts from when I was a kid. Thinking that was the other half of my family, and it turns out it was always Sunderland. So I have heavily considered over the past couple of years when I go to Newcastle wearing a Sunderland shirt, not because I love Sunderland, because I don't, but they are my second team. But I just want to piss off Newcastle fans. But I've sort of thought to myself, if I wear a Sunderland shirt, am I going to get kicked out of the stadium? Like, do the stewards have the right to kick me out of the away ends? And I just thought it's probably not worth the hassle. But I've thought about it many times. I have considered it. So yeah, I think that would be a loan deal that benefits Mark Guiu a lot. Ultimately, he just needs game time. He's going to have it. And I think from a Sunderland perspective, it's a smart move. It's a low cost, low risk move from them with a player who needs to prove himself in the Prem. And I actually like Mark Guiu a lot. And I'd say to Sunderland fans as well, I think you'll like him. And if your manager gives him a chance, gives him an opportunity, I think he can perform for you. So that is my honest opinion on that. Okay, Chelsea remain in talks with a host of potential front and shirt sponsors with the expectation that a lucrative deal will be signed in time for the successful company to have their logo on the club shirts at some point during the forthcoming season. Some point. We're not even going to get a deal done before the season starts. I mean, bloody hell. Come on, guys, get a move on. But again, let's be honest. What the fuck do we know? What do we know about these deals? Honestly, that's the reality. Yeah, Alex versus True Geordie. That would be funny, wouldn't it? Yeah, I mean that's. I'm surprised we haven't wrapped up something, but again, they're probably penny pinch. They want as much as they can get out of this. Matt Law also going back to Garnacho, saying Chelsea have done their homework, which has included a series of background checks into his character and personality. It's believed that Chelsea are comfortable with the results of their checks. So, yeah, no complaints from Chelsea side on Garnacho. And again, I think that's a deal that can happen. I'm not saying it will, but I think it can. Also saying, according to Matt Law, that there remains an expectation that Chelsea will receive offers for Jackson, with Newcastle and Juventus potentially needing strikers. But then again, we've got to highlight this is receiving offers, not accepting offers. I don't believe Chelsea will accept offers from any of those clubs unless it is within the price range that we are looking for. But my God, if we're able to sell this guy for 60+ million, does that not prove that we actually have one of the most effective models in world football? And we have turned out to have some seriously fucking smart people running this club. Excuse my language. And we all thought they were bums. And by the way, to an extent, some of them still are, because they're only in it for themselves and the financial gain of themselves. And I don't think that you can say hand on heart you can love people that just want to take and that is really the play. But at the same time, you have to give credit where credit's due. And if we are able to continue pulling off these great sales, and by the way, we were a very good selling club under Roman Abramovich. We just didn't sell that much. But when we did sell, we sold pretty well. And it seems like that reputation has only been enhanced since Clear Lake Capital have come in. We've gone from basically being able to generate large amounts of profit from selling players like Eden Hazard, who we retained for a long time and sold it, for an astronomical fee. That's the only time we would ever do it in those circumstances, to now basically buying players that we would have never signed under Abramovich and just building them up to flip them on. And if they actually get to a level where we're comfortable with what they're doing at the club and they're a serious part of the project, then we're able to retain them because they're signed on these long contracts. And Cole Palmer's a great example of this. Signed like a 7-8 year deal, and then was given an extension because his wage was much lower. We basically doubled his wage. I think we doubled. Yeah, I mean that we doubled his wage in terms of what it would have been pre-Champions League, and we've almost sort of quadrupled it. With Champions League, or tripled it, I would say, with Champions League incentives. So the great thing about signing young players on these long contracts with the low wages, you're then able to basically dangle the carrot and say, listen, you're going to be with us for another 6 years anyway. We'll double your money. You're on 60 grand. We'll make it 120. And how's a player supposed to turn that down? And they'll probably happily sign an extra 3 years on their deal because they're going to double their wage anyway. So, yeah, I think Palmer's probably earning about that now. It is about 200K. Around that mark. What's 20% of 130? Whatever that is. You add that onto his wage, and that's what he'll be earning now with the Champions League incentives. But I mean, he's going to be doing absolutely fine. Right, so you just add 26K then, if that's the case, and that's what I think he'll be earning. Or is it a 30% bump? Is it a 20% bump or a 30% bump? If it's a 30% bump, then it will be more than 26. It'll be whatever 30% is. Yeah, that probably sounds more realistic. I don't fucking know. I'll let you do the maths. I'm with Coleman in the spoons up the Chelsea. If it's 30%, yeah, that's probably what he's on then, about 170K. What a wage still. Let's not sit here and act like the guy is struggling in life. He's doing well. And he's going to have performance bonuses as well. You got to remember the Club World Cup bonuses all the players got for winning the competition. So we are Bonus FC. We are Bonus FC. If you succeed, if you achieve, you will be rewarded for your fine work. And that is one thing that I've never had a problem with, in fairness. 3 players that RB Leipzig are interested in. Broha, Tyreek George, and Chukwuemeka. Those are players that we could potentially use to generate funds for when we then agree this Xavi Simons deal, potentially even as like swap deals, even though they are separate. Right, okay, you pay us 20 million for Chukwuemeka, and then we will give you Xavi. We will buy Xavi Simons from you, or you give us 15 for Broya. Or you loan Tyreek George as well. Lots of different options that we can look at. So I do think that we're in a very comfortable position, and I think that negotiation is going pretty well. I do also want to say big up to everyone that smashed that like button. We've got just over 100 of you on YouTube. We've got 77 likes. Let's see if we can get to 100. And big up to everyone on X as well. We've got over 500 people on X watching live. So big up to yourselves as well. Smash that like button on X, or you can retweet anything to support. It all helps. But listen, I'm going to round it up there, guys. Really appreciate your time. I will be doing a couple of videos, hopefully, and I'm going to try and do that more often. And I'll be streaming again tomorrow, maybe even in the morning. I might do a morning stream, or I might do another evening stream, depending on how things go. But yeah, appreciate your time, guys, and enjoy the rest